There are so many resources out there talking about how to get your first and second job in product management. However, no one talks about what happens later. What happens when you reach the point when you're ready, set, and excited to search for your next and maybe first senior product management position. Whether you're inspired to become a product director, VP of product, or even chief product officer, we are here to crack the senior PM interview process together. Hello, leaguers, and welcome to today's Ask Me Anything, the place where talented and curious product managers like you get to ask us anything. Well, yesterday we asked product managers from all over the world to vote and tell us what is the most challenging part of the senior PM interview process, with 37 majority choosing passing the assignment task as the harder task, and another 23% choosing negotiating salary and terms as their biggest challenge. Well, we've got your back. In this session today, we're going to answer all your questions about cracking the senior PM interview process, from being invited to the interview, making the interviewer trust your personal and professional skills, passing the assignment test, and even negotiating the terms that you want to have. By the way, it's great meeting you. My name is Maria Cassis, and I'm the founder and general manager of Product League. Product League is an international mentoring program for product managers by product managers, and what we do is helping you to become the best product manager you can be. Now, I want you to get better at what you do, and I want to get to know you better. So please, whoever is now watching us, please use the comment section. Tell us who you are, where you're from. We want to get to know you, and more than that, we want to answer your questions. Let's say we are going to make it into our little product party together. So now we've got 3 talented, dedicated, and experienced Product League mentors to answer all your questions and all your wonders about cracking the senior PM interview process. Guys, you are at the right place. Joining us live from Tel Aviv, please welcome to the stage Shira Gershoni, Head of Product at Soluto, Consumer Journey Product and Product League Mentor. How are you, Shira?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. How are you, Maria?
I'm great. Very, very excited to have you here with us. So just so you know, guys, why we're so excited to have Shira with us. Over the past 10 years, Shira created market-leading e-commerce and SaaS products in over 40 states and regulations across North America and Europe. From digital solutions to brick and mortar, she leads large-scale products and a global team of talented product managers, and she's here now with us today. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you, Maria. It's really fun to be here, and I can't wait to hear the audience questions and kind of help some people to level up their next role.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Excited to have you here. We're going to have you here with us in just a few. Thank you very much, Shira. And joining us live from San Francisco, please shout out a big hello to Martín Lasarga, Senior Product Manager at Post League and Product League Mentor. What's up, Martín?
Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Super excited to be here.
Very, very excited to have you here. And as you said, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are from, we are happy to have you in our audience. And as well, so you'll know what I am so excited to have Martín here with us today. So throughout his over 15 years of career, Martín has worked cross-functionally with design, technology, engineering partners to define and build SaaS solutions to global scale. That's a big one. He's a seasoned product leader, passionate about solving real problems using tech and bringing value to the equation, which is the biggest deal about product management. And today we are going to help more and more leaders and fellow product managers to level up their game and search for the senior position that they are waiting for.
Well, excited again to be here. Happy to answer all your questions. And again, super excited to share this panel with super talented people. So thank you for having me.
Very, very excited to have you here with us. We're going to have you back with us in just a few. And last but not least, also from Tel Aviv, get ready to learn from Benny Reich, also from Tel Aviv, VP Product at Perception Point and Product League Mentor. And if you recognize Benny, it may be from previous AMAs that he had with us. I think this is the third time with us, but who counts? Because it doesn't matter. So excited to have you here with us. What's up, Benny?
Hello, I'm happy to be here and looking for an excited evening.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And so you'll know, guys, more about Benny. Benny has over 15 years of experience in product management in various companies, products, and markets. He launched and led product teams in various startups in cellular, industrial maintenance, automotive, cyber, and other markets. And he also happens to have a podcast and a blog about product management. So, guys, look for it and have another chance to learn from Benny. With no further ado, I think this is the time to call everyone to the stage. So we have Shira, Martin, and Benny here with us today. And how is it going to work? So, guys, when you registered to the event, we ask you, what are your concerns? What are your questions that you would like to submit to our panelists? And we gave you the opportunity to ask us anything about cracking the senior PM interview process. From these questions, we chose the most frequently asked questions, but also those that to us were most interesting, those that will bring as much value to everyone who is watching us right now. So we will help you to become the best product manager you can be, but we don't stop there, because at the end of the session, we'll also have an open Q&A where everyone in the audience will have the opportunity to submit their questions to these 3 experienced product lead mentors that will answer all your questions. That means, guys, that you got 2 call to actions. 1, please like this video, share it with your fellow colleagues, product managers, whoever comes to your mind, because everyone will benefit from this session, and show us some product love. The second call to action is submit your question. As I said before, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and how can we help you, because we want to help you to crack the senior PM interview process and get the job that you want to have. I think that's it, guys. We are ready for the questions. So what do you say, guys? Shira, Benny, Martin, are we ready to crack the senior PM interview process?
So ready.
That's the spirit. Wonderful. Okay, so we start with the first questions. It's actually very, very interesting one. It goes to all of you, so we'll have the opportunity to hear everyone's opinion. And it comes from Liron. And he or she, I don't know, they are asking, is there a best way to prepare for a product management interview? And if there is, what is it? So who would like to start? Because this is a big one. This is a very important question. Who would like to start?
So I can start.
Go ahead, Benny.
So assuming you have your next position in 2 or 3 years, this is the time to start. 90% of the work is actually before the interview. You know what we are doing here, actually. So make sure you have the right network. Make sure you make yourself out there. Have a positioning on how you want to be a product manager, okay? Because it's not about the company. It's first about you. What kind of product manager you want to be? Maybe in the company you are, there are limitations that do not allow you to be that type of product manager. Okay, but start becoming, outside this product manager you would like to be. So that's 90% of the preparation, I think, for the interview. The other 10% also before the interview. Okay, nothing, So you need to get to know the company and the product. Like, you are not interviewing for a developer position. You are supposed to be a product manager.
Not to offend
No, it's not about offending. No, but you need to love the product. You need to connect to the vision of the company. Coming to an interview for product management without trying, at least, maybe you don't succeed, but trying to understand what type of company, what type of product management they have there as much as you can. Who is going to be your VP product or whatever? What is you on the world? At the end, it's a match game, right? It's not product management. I think it's the most position that you can be the best product manager and do not fit for the role, because it's a fit game, okay? You need to fit to the company as they need to fit you, okay? So there are many companies out there that I don't fit, even though I'm doing a great job.
That's a great question. So to summarize, first, the right time to start is now.
Yeah.
Also, it's about the fit and making sure that you know what is it that you are coming to. What is it about the company? What is the product? What is the environment?
And what you want. And what you want. First of all, what you want.
Wise words. Wise words. Thank you very much, Benny. Shira?
So when I'm looking for a new product manager and when I'm hiring product managers, the number one thing I'm looking for is passion. I want to see that people come with that passion. And I think that if we're thinking about how to prep for an interview, I can't prep to be passionate, right? It's not something that I wake up and I'm like, today I'm going to be super passionate. You need to bring it from the inside. And in order to be able to actually shine in an interview and show that soft skill, think about the recent product that you're most proud of, your baby product, the one thing that no matter what is the opportunity, you'll tell someone about it, and try to rethink about it, reevaluate. Who was it for? What is the problem that it's solving? How do you plan to measure success? Just go one by one, and we all know those product questions that we ask ourselves. But try to rethink about it and bring that passion from your baby product and try to really shine in that interview. And I can tell you that you can't hide that passion if it's within you.
And you shouldn't, because for us, the interviewers, that's actually a game changer. Seeing someone who's passionate about the job, bring their A game, bring good energy to the office, come work for me. Right? It's like, just come. We're looking for these people. So spot on, Shira. Thank you very much for this tip. Martin.
Yeah, 100% agree with Shira and Benny on both topics. One, like, for sure, like passion, you need to have it. You need to show that excitement that you really want to accomplish things in that work. But at the same time, as you get excited, right? Because it's very easy. I think it's very important to be organized and structured in every answer that you give. So when we're looking in product managers for good communication skills, structure in the answer. It's important to give the right amount of information and in a very clear and concise way. So there's not a unique framework as we read the books, as we exercise. What really matters is that you walk the interview and how you are structuring your answers and how confident you are about it. So do not rumble and always be ready to explain how you're going to measure success and in every feature, in every product you're going to deliver. So my suggestion here for future product managers is read these two books that really helped me in my career, specifically that are Cracking the PM Interview and Decode and Conquer. That those both books present like all this journey and all this excitement and nervousness that we have when we are facing like a new role in a new company. So yeah, that would be my advice for Philippines.
A great advice. And both Benny and Martin also included some links for you, and we will share them with you guys at the audience in just a few. And now we're going to talk about what to the audience seems to be the biggest worry of all, the assignment. I don't know why people are so freaked out about it, but apparently everyone does. So with that, Benny, in mind, Ina has a question to you, and she is asking, how would you describe the perfect home assignment submission?
Yeah, assignment is, a very, very big problem.
We don't have problems. We are product managers. We only have challenges.
Yes. And by the way, before getting to that, so through the years, I initially gave assignment home. I recently stopped that. I'm giving assignment half hour in-house because again, the thing that I'm looking in an assignment, and we'll talk about it later, is how the product manager thinks, and this can be done in half an hour, and I don't need to send him to 10 hours or 10 days of work. I think again, you need to bring your own. So you need to bring what you do. It's not about thoroughness, in my opinion. Okay, whoever give you assignment, understand this is not a job. Okay, usually the same assignment. If you had to do it in your job, it will take 10 days. You do it very thoroughly. If you, especially for a senior product manager and not a junior, if you had a role, I'm assuming you are thorough. Okay, I have to assume. So it's not about thoroughness. It's about bringing your qualities, right? So seeing how to be unique, how to show that you are thinking product. Okay, not just filling the assignment, but thinking, about the why and putting your your assumptions. Usually, by the way, this is the most important part because usually, and many companies give assignment from their world, okay, because it's easy for them to compare, and it means you don't know this. So it means you are going to be actually wrong for sure. 90% you are going to do the assignment wrong. Okay, if you write the assumptions as an interviewer, I can check at least whether you did the assignment right based on your assumption. Then, by the way, when you come to me and we talk about it, usually what I do is I tell you your assumptions are wrong. Now, how you change your answer? By the way, that's the best way for me to understand how a person thinks.
Very, very interesting. So we said for you, no home assignment, but office assignments. It's a little more challenging these days with COVID, but we'll go with that. And also a tip for the interviewee: make sure that when you make any assumptions, you mention them in the assignment, so we will know what you base your question on, and then we can give you some grace if that was what led you to the wrong assumption. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much. We're staying with the same subject because it's a very interesting one, and I'm sure you all have a lot to say about that. We all do. Sheila, Amir is asking, with different companies using the same words, we know that we all use the same terminology, but with different meanings, how can I know exactly what the assignment emphasizes?
Well, it's not surprising because even with the job titles, it could be the same job title, but each company will tailor that suit a little differently, right? So you can't really guess what they were thinking of if you just read it and if it's not an on-site assignment. But I would say that there are some key attributes to every home assignment that the hiring manager would like to see in those. And if I need to kind of narrow it down to 3, it would be the sense of prioritization. Am I able to defer what's important and what's less important? And it will also be, am I able to define what success looks like? So there is no product manager that doesn't need to define the success metrics and actually measure their products and their performance accordingly. So prioritization, sense of, and understanding what success is. And I think the third one, which to me is the key thing in any assignment, in any interview, and basically in our day-to-day, is to be able to tell a story. So with every answer that you provide in that test, no matter if it's on site or if it's on a paper, be able to tell the story with each and every answer. And that kind of includes also some of Benny's advice, right? Your assumptions, it's part of the story. What did your user experience a minute before that they reached your feature or your product? What do you want to lead them to? And what would you want them to feel and understand? So those would be the 3 things that no matter what assignment you're facing, definitely make sure you highlight the prioritization, the success metrics, and how you tell that story.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Maria?
Martin, I wonder, Benny, just before we are going back to you, Martin, I wonder what you have to share about this subject. It's an interesting one.
Definitely, yes. So yeah, I think that it's very important, yeah, to Benny's point and Shira's point, right? We need to cut through prioritization. Yeah, like what we're going to build, when we're going to build it. That's specifically what's most important. There's so many stuff. There's so many insights, so many requirements, and so many priorities. And that's I think that one of the most important things that a product manager should have. Like saying no is one of the most important skills that a product manager should have specifically.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much, Martin. Yes, Benny.
Yeah, I want to add to what Shira said about the story and everything. You know, especially as assignments are very big, focus. I want to see, you know, product manager, one of the best job of product manager is to make sure that everybody focus, that you cut all what is not needed. If your assignment is all around the place because you wanted to answer everything, that shows me you can't think as a product manager. So part of your job in answering an assignment is to show that you can focus. So more is less sometimes.
I will continue with your point because I think it's an important one. Guys, please make our life easier. Don't write 5 pages for something that can be answered within one. It just helps us to get a better understanding of how smart you are in a much simpler way. So please do that. Another point, a little different than what you guys mentioned, but it actually goes with the same line of product management skills and leadership skills, and also with focus. I see it oftentimes, both when I hire for corporations and when I do it for startups. There is somehow the assumption that there are endless number of developers on the team, endless number of designers, and biggest resources out there. If your assumption is that we can do everything, this does not convince me that you can lead a product, that you can go into a senior product management position. But if you show me how you can do, or how can you achieve a part of the mission, a bigger chunk or a smaller chunk, although we have some limited resources, and you take into account the number of developers that you have on your team and the time frame that you have and other concerns that we deal with every day, this may be one of the things that will help me understand that you are set for leadership and you actually see the bigger picture. Because when we are talking about senior product leadership, senior product management positions, and about leadership, it's also about that you have to sometimes take decisions that are not easy to make, right? So it's also a very important point to mention. And now we have the soft skills and the hard skills part of the equation, everything that has to do with the interview and how you can make sure that the other person that is now interviewing trusts you to lead their product. This is a big deal. So with that in mind, Martin, Gary has a question to you, and he is asking, what is the core value of a senior product manager, and how should one communicate that during an interview?
Yeah, I think that definitely.
It's a beautiful question.
Yeah, it is. Definitely it is. So there's several core values, but I would say that empathy, in my perspective, is one of the most important, right? You need, as a product manager and in a leadership position, to be able to put yourself in another person's situation, right? But at the same time, it's fundamental to have a very clear and concise line of communication to the rest of the organization. So again, always focus on the problem statement. We are not interested, and it's not our job to think specifically about the solutions. That's why we have like amazing engineers inside our teams, right? So let's focus specifically on what problem to solve and how we are going to measure the success specifically for that problem. So describe your design process to the interviewer. Walk him through how you are approaching to that specific problem statement. Prioritize and don't jump so quickly into solutions. So again, focus, focus, focus.
Yeah, and I would love to add to that, Maria, that eventually some of the soft skills that we need to bring into our everyday is resourcefulness, right? It's not that just that we need to say no. We hear so many no's all day long. It's no from clients, it's no from HR, it's no from the developers, it's no from basically everywhere. And being resourceful and be able to think about 10 different alternative ways to do the same thing is something that you need to bring, and it's not something that you can learn. So that would be definitely a soft skill that you might not learn it, but you can definitely practice it.
Amen to that, sister. And Martin, wise words. Thank you very much for that. We're staying with the same subject. Adir has a question to you, Benny, and is asking, what qualities and skills do you look for when interviewing candidates who will build, wait for it, product teams? We're not longer talking about just building products, but we're now talking about building product teams. And when conducting an interview, how should one demonstrate them? So what are you looking for, and how can we show it?
So I'm not sure you can prepare for that, and I'll cut it short, because if I really answer the questions, I have about 20 qualities that will take like 2 hours to talk. I actually wrote a blog about it. So I'll take only the 2 most important for me, okay? Because all are important in a way, okay? And I need to check for everything. But the first one, and I mentioned it before in the assignment, is, I call it smart thinking. A product manager need to move the ball, sit with the customer, give a solution in no time, understand things that you don't understand, and help others. If he can't think and fast, I can't do his job. Okay, so that's one thing. It's very hard to check. Usually the assignment help there. That's the only reason I'm actually giving an assignment, because all the other things can be checked in different ways. So that's the first one, and it's the hardest to understand. But when a person doesn't know how to think, you find it immediately. The second one is people first. I know that as a product manager, and it's all soft skills and everything, but as product manager, we should care about the product, right? But who is actually day-to-day taking care about the product? Not us, mostly. The people, the developers, the customer success, they are taking care of the product. So if you take care of the people, if you think first about the people that taking care of the product, you'll get a great product.
That's very interesting. Thank you very, very much, Benny. And this is an important subject, right? We're switching from building product to building product teams, and I think it's worth the time. Shira, Martin, what do you have to say about what you are looking for when you are hiring people that supposedly will lead people at the company, and how can this interviewees convey these skills to you?
I think that eventually when we're working in a leadership role, so it's not just us and the product and our teams, it's actually leading and coaching additional product managers. When you're interviewing, show those examples of how you motivate a team. Now, we're talking again about senior roles. So it's not a junior product manager that might just, complete their bachelor degree and come in for their first adventure. You have examples, share those with your hiring managers, show that you are able to motivate people, but not just the motivation and the day-to-day. There are also some moments that are not that easy. So share the examples of how you handled more challenging stakeholders. How do you handle those situations where everything seems to go wrong? When you definitely going to miss a deadline? We're including retrospectives in our day-to-day, or at least I hope so. And those retrospects allow us to learn from it. So share with your interviewer, what did you learn along the way? Show that you care about your learnings and that this actually helped you be a better leader. And I think the last thing that I would look for when I'm kind of trying to identify and measure how responsible, how liable this person is for their product would be to show that they really, truly care about the results, truly care about the impact that product led to, because that shows that you're living and breathing your product. And that to me is a sense of responsibility, liability, and definitely connection to the product you're working on.
That's a big one. I'm going to build a little bit on that. Don't ever, guys, at the audience, talk bad about other products that you created at best, because these are still your babies. You may not work on them this moment. It may, change since you were there because someone else is taking care of your baby. but these are still your babies, and you never talk shit about your babies. Pardon my French. Okay, so Shira, with everything that you said, everything was spot on, because leadership is being accountable. We need to trust not your abilities, but also your skills and personal skills. Make us trust you and show us that you love what you created in the past. Love it very much. Martin, the stage is yours.
Yeah, definitely. I'm honestly looking always for somebody with a great personality, who could actually say yes, no, can like have any kind of conversations with anybody inside the company, but at the same time, he needs to be like super humble. And when I say humble, is because mainly, and I'm a true believer of this, is that um, the success of the product is from the team, but mainly the failure of the product is from the product manager, right? It's because we didn't do what was needed to do to make it successful. So it's our responsibility to make it successful, and it's our with our soft skills, with our hard skills, that we need to be like leveraging up people, like fomenting a good product culture, having good cultural fit inside your teams. So it's all about communication, and what Benny was saying, that we need to have people that are like fighting next to you, to accomplish that success. So yeah, be humble, right? Try to do the correct things, accept criticism, and iterate always on that.
I am so happy that you just mentioned accept criticism. I think it's a big one. I really love the fact that you mentioned it. It's a big one, and it's really hard to convey it in an interview, because unless you just received criticism, how do you say it? But I think that going back to what all you said, what you guys said earlier, if you share and tell a story about your experience as a product manager, and you bring your experience to the table, and you share the good, the bad, and how you dealt with that, you can also mention how you dealt with criticism, and this is a big one, very big one.
And Maria, you know what? If we're talking about feedback, it's also important in those leadership roles to know how to give feedback, not just to your product managers that are part of your team or your department, but also give feedback to those engineers, give feedback to that legal team that is in the way, give feedback to those that are just along the side or there for the ride, and know how to give that feedback in order to make them want to run with you.
Yes. Build bridges, get the job done, give feedback, but still build bridges, because at the end we can't build product by ourselves, right? We need the whole company.
It's almost, yeah, Maria, it's almost, for a leading product position, half of the interview is like interviewing someone from HR. Okay? No, I really mean it. You want to see that this person knows when an engineer had a bad date yesterday. Okay? Really, he needs to care about the people.
Yeah, Martin?
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing on this last topic, that is like, and this is something that I like to foment like in my product teams, and like to evangelize, to the engineers, that failure is good, and failing fast is much better than getting stuck. So iterating and iterating fast, and embracing that culture inside your team. So your engineers, your designers, and everybody, your different stakeholders, like once they embrace that, and like things move much faster, and we see much more value in everything that we build after we adopt that culture too. So failure, it is good.
Yes, everyone who is interviewing there, you guys are more than just your accomplishments. You are the good stories, the bad stories, how you dealt with this kind of a person on your team, and another behavior. And when you bring yourself as a professional, it's something that is bigger than just accomplishment that you can put into a CV. This is where we can actually see and imagine you managing people, managing product, and hopefully leading the whole team. for success. So thank you very much, Benny, Shira, and Martin. That was great. And before we're moving on to the next question, I want to remind everyone in the audience that we still want to receive your questions. These fellow magnificent Product League mentors are here to reply all your wonders. So please make sure to submit your questions now in the chat. We want to hear from you. Everything that has to do with cracking the senior PM interview process, we're here for you. We've got your back. So now, Shira, you have a question to you. And he is asking, how does one demonstrate their managing ability and ability to take responsibility in a role that has a lot of responsibility when interviewing? So how do we show not just leadership, as we discussed before, but responsibility?
I think that those two goes hand in hand. You know, when we're talking about where we are willing to face our mistakes, when we were able to motivate our team and just share how our day-to-day looks like with our teams and what makes that team be successful. Because again, the product is not just about the numbers. I've mentioned earlier, be closely connected to the results and, you know, be an advocate of the success of your product, but also be advocating for the success of your team and make sure that your team is not just always feeling like they're like at the edge of the marathon and then there's another marathon, and be able to share those examples of how you manage the cycle. How do you manage the planning? How do you think ahead? And how are you able, if we're going back to my first tip, tell the story. How do you tell the story to that team that you now want them to bring them on board? So that would be, when I hear a candidate talking about those examples, sharing with me his experience from the day-to-day with that perspective, that tells me a lot about that candidate.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Shira. Martin, Benny, only if you have anything to add, what is responsibility to you?
I would add, and it's also related to the previous question, one way to ask is the person, how are you going to measure yourself? Okay? So that's the kind of way to understand, if he understands how he measures himself as a director of product or VP product, as someone who leads people, that will show you how you see responsibility.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Benny. Martin?
Yeah, I think I more or less resumed in my last response, right? Like, I feel like feeling accountable for the success of the product and not like looking for excuses, you know, inside your team. That shows the sense of responsibility that you know, and that shows leadership in front, like in front of all the organization. So yes, the success of the product, in my perspective, it is from the team. Everybody contributes to that, but mainly the failure of our product, it is mainly because of we missed something and we are responsible of it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We're staying with you because Prithvi has a question to you, a very relevant to these days question, if I may. And she is asking, do you have any tips for demonstrating strong stakeholder management abilities and skills when interviewing for the role at a remote first company? So not a remote situation at work as something that is temporary, but a remote first company. How do we show that we actually know how to best deal with different stakeholders when it's a remote one?
Yeah, definitely. Communication is everything, right? So we need to like generate that cultural fit with different stakeholders and company-wide. But at the same time, we are storytellers, right? So I think that telling a cohesive story and how you approached different situations in the past in your work environment, that could actually help you, you know, to showcase and demonstrate that stakeholder management. So telling about like behavioral examples where you needed to say no to something, where you needed to build a guild to get things done with, I don't know, different engineering teams that have a different focus, where you need to prioritize X or Y, and why you are prioritizing, why you say no to Y, explaining like how you needed to communicate to the structure or organization something important, situation where you have difficult conversations with different stakeholders, and how you reach always a resolution. So more or less, if we resume what I just described, it's all about like evangelizing and having strong communication and a very good storytelling to the rest of the company.
Yeah, I feel like we had a chance last year to pilot how we work remotely, right? We tried a few versions, we tried to iterate, we did it from our living room, then we went to our bedroom, then we just ended up in the kitchen. So we pilot it. And when you're talking about how you manage your day-to-day remotely, which most of us still do it remotely. I'm lucky to be in the office today. But showing those examples, sharing how did you try it? What did you try until you got to that secret sauce of how you manage your team, how you work with your team remotely? And also, I think that it's really important to share how do you build those bridges on a personal level, right? We're not just here to do the job, right? We're here to socialize. We're here to learn from each other. We're here to gain friends, right? So how do you build those bridges remotely? And when is the time when you have to get out of that screen and meet face to face? What are those events, moments, or milestones that this is truly critical for you as a product manager? Share that with your hiring manager for a remote job.
And how you dealt with that, how you overcame the fact that you can't meet with someone at the office, but you need to make a one-on-one face-to-face meeting with them to make things go clear. So very, very good point.
Send them ice cream. You know, Grubhub exists everywhere.
Yes.
Just send the ice cream.
Yes, exactly. But it goes back to the social skills, it goes back to the soft skills, to handling people, to know that doesn't matter what the situation is, you have to overcome it. You have to deal with that. So actually saying I'm going to send someone an ice cream bucket, that's a fantastic one. I think that everyone is going to use it tomorrow morning when they're interviewing to wherever it is, but it is a good one. Thank you very much. Benny, do you have anything to add as a remote, I think, lover? I think you like the remote situation that goes on right now.
Oh, you got me wrong. No, I hate it. No, we are back to thankfully we are back to the office.
It gets interesting.
Yeah, we are back to the office. I like I think the magic, it's not that you cannot do remote, and luckily, because we have a very empowered team, actually the transition was very simple to remote, so everything works smoothly. But there is a magic in the coffee, in the corridor that you cannot replicate in remote. You can do the work, everything works, that's fine, okay? But you're missing the magic. I'm sorry. But that's me again. I'm not saying, I'm not saying that companies cannot work remote. The last year proved it. It works. It's great. But I personally come for the food.
And he's not kidding. Perfect. Thank you very much, Benny. Now it's time for the open Q&A with the audience, everything that they are submitting live. And we are starting with a question from Maor, and he is asking, he's a director of product at M&A Analytics, and he is asking, what kind of thinking processes are you looking for in a senior PM for product sense related questions? So how do we sense that someone got product sense?
Okay, so I can start. So one of the I talked about it a little before, so I not repeat myself. But it's about, does he get to the question with more questions? Okay, right? As product managers, we are supposed to ask to find the questions, not the answers. Okay, so someone running too fast to the answers, that's kind of a red light.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely support that. And I would say that when I'm interviewing, and I'm interviewing for both senior PM roles and director roles here at Saludo, and I love the on-site interview. I love the dynamics, and I love to see how we ping pong our ideas. The product sense is shining in those moments. The product sense when you have a great idea, but hey, do you have another one? Or maybe let's try it a different way. And what if they just shut down that department, and just see how those ideas just keep coming to the air, and also be able to challenge those ideas. Just like Benny said, ask a million times why, and then ask it one more time.
That
Yeah,
always
definitely.
works. Always works. Thank you very much, both Shira and Benny. Martin?
Yeah, I
Product
think that
sense.
there's no correct answer, right? We're like not looking for like a correct answer. We want to get into your brain. We want to know how you think. We want to understand um, how you envision things, what questions you ask, and all that like thought process that you are elaborating to actually come to your solution, right? So definitely what Benny and Shira were saying, I'm 100% aligned with that. And it's very important that you walk us through and try to showcase to the interviewer like the way you are structuring your answer. So try to be structured, right, in your answer. And there's no correct answer. We just want you to be comfortable trying to like understand correctly the problem statement.
Loving it. Thank you very much. I will add something of my own. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see so often, unfortunately, is that we introduce the product to interviewee, and then they have a list, a long list of suggestions, usually based on nothing. And they are so 100% sure that these are the correct features for us to stop everything and work on. And part of having a product sense is knowing that most of the time we know nothing. Like, we never build our actions based on our ego, on our assumptions. So part of product sense, combined with everything that you just mentioned, because it was spot on, is knowing that you always concern that maybe you missed something. So you can have great suggestions, but you always keep a room for asking another why, or how, or why now. And this what leads us to trust your actions better and the way you think, and combine with everything that you guys just mentioned, because that was perfect. Now Ron has another question to you guys, and he's asking something that may sound very simple, but I don't think this is simple at all. And he's asking, what does leadership mean to you? That's a big one.
Well, first of all, don't throw your teammates under the bus. So be accountable, be able to stand behind the actions. You were there to see it many times before it was out there, or before the client saw it, or before it failed, or before it succeeded, right? So really be accountable and don't throw your teammates under the bus. And also, if I may say, don't just expect them to know what your expectations are, right? You're their coach, you're their leader, you're there to set the example and set the standards, but it's not like they know what's your standard from the get-go. So be able to dedicate the time after important meetings to debrief, to understand what just happened, to kind of level set what we want it to be next time. Be able to provide that on the spot feedback, and don't just wait for the one-on-one next week. This way is your ability to get closely aligned with what your expectations from your team are, would be a better leader.
Sounds good. Sounds very good, Eva.
So again, there are many ways to see leadership, but in a way, I want to point one thing, and leadership is about letting people make mistakes. Okay, so many times sitting, knowing the answer, and shutting up because it's more important to let people make mistake than make now the correct feature. Okay, we
To
talked
some extent.
again. You need to decide. You need to decide when it's okay to have a mistake
I
and
have
when
to
it's
say.
not okay to have a
No, no,
mistake.
that's
Okay,
right.
that's part of that's part of the. In a way, we talked about how we measure ourselves as leaders. I personally measure myself by the number of months that I can go away and I believe that everything will be okay. Okay, okay. So the longer it is, I'm doing my job better.
Let us know when you can retire.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. I feel like it's empower people, right? Like use your knowledge, use your experience to level up your team, to level up your colleagues, like share experiences. I think that once you realize that the success of like your teammates is going to reflect on your success, I think it's when you start to realize that you're a better leader. And to Shira's point, right? I think that related to feedback, right? Receiving feedback, but giving feedback, it's very, very, very important to structure those meetings, to prepare ourselves, to be very objective, to leave emotions, right? Besides. So those are like very, very important things that as leaders inside the company, we need to manage on a day-to-day basis.
Very wise words. Thank you very much, all of you. And we have another question that comes from Yoav, and he's asking, as a non-developer experienced PM, so it comes from non-technical background, what will make a CV shine and crush the technical background barrier? So for some reason, he's concerned, tell him if he's correct or wrong, that the fact that he has no tech experience will hold him from getting and cracking the senior PM interview. So what do you think about that, guys?
Yeah, I can start with this one. I feel like not really, I would say. Maybe it's good to be concerned, but at the same time, I want to share with you that unless like it's a super technical position, like in one specific language or whatever, I'm like 90% interested in how the person, like it's a cultural fit inside the team and how he reasons and how he works. It's not about like his background, it's more like what value he can actually bring into the team. So I would say like don't be concerned about that specifically. I think that your soft skills and how you get that cultural fit inside the company is much more valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so in a way, assuming this person is not technical, and this is not his first job, okay, right? So he already managed, okay, in previous company, assuming he was successful, right, to overcome this technical barrier. So show that in describing your last position, how you managed, to understand technical issue, even though you don't have technical background.
Yeah. And I think that maybe, and maybe I'm not getting it right, but it seems like the concern here is how do you overcome the barrier of just getting your CV noticed? So you're not even in that interview, you're just sending out your CV. And how can you make the CV really emphasize that you know what you're doing? So I would highlight the processes and the day-to-day that I had with engineers and what were my direct interfaces and what were some of the processes that I used or methodologies that I implemented or used on my day-to-day. I think if it comes to just the CV and how I position what I did, which is more technical, those would be the directions I go to. And again, it's really hard because for every 10 CVs that we're getting, maybe one is being called into
You're so polite.
But eventually, if I'm thinking about our talented team here at Saludo, one has a psychology background, one potentially was a lawyer, one is from economics. So we have very few post engineers on the team, and it's still a very talented group of people. So I would say that pre-development experience is nice, but after one position, after you already know what you're doing, right? Just show it.
Yes, and to highlight something that is very obvious, guys, this is the first time we're using the word technology on this session. So obviously the other hard skills, the soft skills, the leadership, the responsibility, everything that has to do with that has much bigger opportunity for you to impress us than us knowing that you spent, 7 or 10 years working with whatever it is language that you think that will impress us. So show us that you know how to lead people, not just to write code. I'll say it this way. Thank you very much, all of you. And we have another question. It comes from Ruben. He is asking a very interesting one. Get ready. He's asking, I'm about to join a company as a senior product manager. Congratulations, Ruben. And he's asking, what questions would I Okay, ask the hiring manager before deciding to join them and what questions I should avoid asking.
Well,
So
prioritize what's important to you. What do you actually appreciate? Do you care about who's your manager? Do you care about the candies in the kitchen? Do you care about the team that you're going to work with? And I personally, I'm all about the people, right? So if I were to join a new company right now, I would love to meet the team before I join the company. I would love to ask the hiring manager if there's any chance I can talk to one of the engineers, maybe kind of have coffee with the team to get to know him on a personal level. And I think that would actually show my personality and rather my experience, which is already proven at that point.
And if possible, following what you just mentioned, Shira, if possible, ask to join them for lunch. You reveal all secrets at lunch and all dynamics there. It's a very important one, Shira. Thank you.
So to add to Shira's point, I totally agree. It's a double-sided interview. So you're interviewing the company just as they interview you. And if you don't do that, that's a red light for me, by the way. Okay. If you don't ask what are the product management processes, what are the development process, how will my day-to-day look, in general. If you don't ask to talk with at least some of the influencing people, I expect like the product manager, usually the senior product manager, you probably want, even if the company don't want to use the VP R&D to, as part of the recruitment process, you want it. You want to talk also with the VP R&D, not just with the VP product. Okay, so show that you are actually trying to understand that you fit the company and not just looking for a job.
You're not desperate, right? You want to lead something. You want us to recognize leadership in you. Show us that you are as selective as we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benny. Martin.
Yeah, definitely. When I say we as a company, we're looking at you to do an investment at the same time, right? So we want you to succeed. So questions that, thinking specifically in this situation where you are a senior, you're applying to a senior product manager position. I think that in that step in your career, you more or less have an idea of what's your personal roadmap inside product, right? So asking about that, like asking about or sharing your ambitions, with the hiring manager, I think it's a very, very important thing because they could actually see that, this person is a keeper. He really wants to succeed inside the company. He really is a person that's going to add value to the organization. So, like showing your expectations, your ambitions, I think it's a very important thing to us too.
That's a great one. Thank you very much. We're almost done, just almost, because before we go off, I want to challenge you guys a little bit. Are you ready for a challenge?
Yep.
Sure.
So, we're product professionals. It's all about prioritization. We managed to say prioritization for at least 5 times this session alone. From all the great discussion points that we mentioned today, please choose the one that you think that everyone should think about tomorrow morning when they're setting themselves to crack the senior PM interview process. But before you answer it, just hold it for a second. I want to give you some time to think, because I want to remind everyone in the audience that you had a call to actions, because we want you to follow everything that we do. We want you to be invited to our future product parties, just like this one. So with that in mind, please like this video, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, subscribe to us if you watch us on YouTube, show us some product love, and please spread the word and let everyone know how much you love that session, and send the link to your friends and colleagues and whoever may want to crack the senior PM interview process. And now, tips time. One thing, prioritization, the one thing that may change everyone's tomorrow and maybe career.
For me, is how you tell the story. Just like with every product that we build, we think about what the user will understand, what they will feel, and what they do. Just think about your interview process like a product. What would you want the interviewer to understand from you? What do you want them to feel? And what do you want them to do? And that's to hire you. So definitely treat your interview just like a product and treat your interviewer like your user.
Loving it. Thank you very much, Shira. Who's next?
Be yourself, I'm going to say. Like, yeah, show me who you are really in that interview, you know? Walk me through your design process. Walk me through how you are approaching to solving the problem. I think that would be like my team number one. So yeah, try to be as clear and concise as possible.
Thank you very much, Martin. And Benny,
Yeah.
last but not least.
So I would go with what Martin said, and I would say it in a different way.
You can't
Martin
steal
said,
Martin's answer. You need to have one of
I
your
went to
own.
steal, and no, I can. That's, by the way, that's
I'm
something
disappointed.
good product managers do. Come on, you rely on others. He mentioned humble before. When you go to an interview, don't think what you want to bring to the table. Think who you want to bring to the table. Okay, how do who do you want to be in the interview? Okay, that's more important than all the question. If you bring yourself and you know who you want to bring, the answer will come. Okay, the right answer will come in the right way.
Loving it. Thank you very much, Benny from Tel Aviv. Benny Reich, VP Product at Perception Point and Product League Mentor from San Francisco. Martín Lasarga, Senior Product Manager at PostClick and Product League Mentor, and from Tel Aviv as well. Shira Gershoni, Head of Product at Soluto Consumer Journey and Product League Mentor. I am Maria Cassis. This is Product League, this magnificent mentors, our Product League. Thank you so much, everyone at the audience, for watching us, and we can't wait to support you on becoming the best product manager you can be. Until then, and until the next time, guys, that you are going to join me on this stage, go league it up. Bye-bye, leaguers, and I had the most fantastic time with you. So thank you very much, Shira, Benny, and Martin. Bye-bye, everyone.
Maria. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.